What's up? So it is 3 a.m. right now and I'm trying to be a little bit quiet, so that's the tea. I was sitting on my front porch and I wanted to talk about my realization that I kind of had. The thing about like this whole spiritual journey stuff is you'll have a series of realizations like all of the time. They might reflect on the same lessons kind of over and over again, or they'll be like mildly correlated, or you can have like completely new realizations that you like really genuinely haven't thought of before in your life. And for example, I'm going to share with you guys this note card that I channeled tonight. That basically what I would do in my journals in the past is I would channel, and I would obsessively channel. Like any channeling that I did, I'm going to include a definition of channeling right here because I just can't even think of the definition right now. Kind of like your inner voice speaking to you, or you connecting to the universe or higher power, or pretty much just your intuition. It's like tapping into your intuition. This can be any time of the day or night, and you can be experiencing any number of things or witnessing something. Like you might see a father in a public setting or something, and he's with his son and he's like treating his son really well, and you like feel the love and compassion that like the father has. Oh, here's the example. I was at the pool this summer, like a couple of days ago, and there was this dad at the pool, and he was like so sweet to his kids. It was like the most adorable thing ever, and he was just having the best time with his son in the pool. And I'm like, well, the funny thing is kids, they have some memories, but they're not going to remember this exact moment likely right now because of how young they are. But the father still chooses to do that anyways because he genuinely loves his kid and he's having fun with him, right? It's like witnessing certain love interactions happening. It doesn't even have to be a relationship type of love. It can literally be, like I said, a father and son relationship. And the reason why that's attractive to me is because my subconscious wants that. And my subconscious didn't get that as a child. So now I am 21 years old and it like comes out in these ways. You don't think it's associated to that, but over time, whenever you like start to notice all these patterns in your life and like, oh my gosh, every time I'm in public and I witness this certain type of father-son relationship or father-daughter relationship, that's what sticks with me most over anything else that I notice in public. So that's an example of like your subconscious or your inner self coming out to try to like show you a theme, and for you to wonder like, why am I like fixated on this theme? Journaling for me in the past would help me like basically word vomit on paper and just like say everything I was getting because I didn't understand it fully, so I had to write it down and analyze it later. And the crazy thing about channeling is it's a timeless thing. So you could like channel something and write it down on a piece of paper or in your phone notes, and then like 6 months later you'll go back to it and it like applies perfectly to the timing that you're in right now. Channeling is timeless. It's just like a message that the universe or God or your like inner self is trying to show you. Example is in this note card, and I'm going to walk you guys through how I channeled this. So first I was sitting outside and I was looking at the stars in the black sky, hearing the cicadas chirping in Georgia, and I was looking at the stars and I was thinking to myself like, oh, the stars have the answers, because I was like reflecting on the relationship we have with stars and how people are like, oh, it's written in the stars, and oh my god, this the stars and that the stars, like astrology, and like, oh, we believe whatever the stars say. Like that relationship is what I chose to analyze in that moment subconsciously. Like something came up that made me want to reflect on that. I wrote down the answers are in the stars, and then I thought, okay, well, people would be like, oh, read in the stars. So then I changed the wording to sky. The answers are written in the sky, or the answers are in the sky, to simplify it. So basically I take like the frou-frou message that most people would like roll their eyes at or whatever, and I like decode it, and then I put it in like layman's terms about like something that would be the least offensive, something that would reach most people and resonate with most people, and it's like very accessible. So that's kind of like what I know my purpose is partially. So I'm excited to share with you guys all that. So like at the very top you see the answers are in the stars and the sky. And then I wrote down, what did I draw next? So weird. It's like so many things in life you can't even describe in words. Like it's just a very deep spiritual experience that it's difficult to put into words. And for a person who loves words, loves writing, and loves like making things make sense, it's even hard for me to describe. So if that gives you any kind of gauge about that, it's like you're trusting your instincts whenever you reflect within, and whenever you like take your ego out of the picture and you just find like the core raw like feelings that you have about yourself or about life or about your relationships with others. Like for example, my dad, and how like I grew up with that certain type of relationship and how that affected me negatively. And then like my mom going through her divorce, like how that's affecting everything. So basically like I'm trusting my inner guidance by listening to those things that come up, and I'm not resisting it. I drew like a heart right here, and then I wrote gut and soul, your instinct. So trusting your instincts is trusting your heart, your gut, and your soul, like all in one. And then, so that's you trusting your inner guidance. And then I wrote connect with the universe, connect with yourself, connect with your truth. So whenever you go out in the stars and you feel that like deep sense of like self-reflection, and the reason why whenever you're in nature, if you enjoy nature and that kind of thing brings you peace and like a meditation kind of state that you're in, like it just kind of opens you up and frees you in a way, and it helps you like sit back and see the world in a different perspective. Whatever that is to you, that is like you trusting your gut, your soul, your instinct, and that is the state that you need to get in to listen to it. And you can find this state easier by going into nature. And for me, going onto my porch at night and looking at the sky, just kind of like put things into perspective pretty much. And like if you self-reflect often, it's a spiritual practice and it is a discipline. So if you do it over and over and over again, then you'll start to understand yourself easier. In this journal over here you see puzzle pieces. They're kind of shittily drawn, but that's okay. And I said we attain and gather the puzzle pieces quicker, easier, more smoothly, and more often. And I said, what is it like to channel your inner knowing? Everything just makes more sense. It's quicker, easier, more smooth, more often, more frequently that things make sense. So it's kind of like you going with the flow and not controlling things, and just like trusting your inner self, that voice right there, and that like thoughts and the feelings and all these vibes that you get whenever you self-reflect and you like think of like the universe, or you think of God, or you think of whatever higher power is like dictating destiny or what's going on, like what are your beliefs with that. So whenever you think about that, that's self-reflection. And then I said self-awareness is freeing, and whenever you are self-aware and you practice it daily, not even daily, but just like you practice it throughout your life. It may not be, like I said, every single day, but it could just be every month or every couple of months, every week, every other week, just whatever. And it'll change as you evolve throughout your journey. Like before you're awakened, you live your life like pretty much asleep. So I was asleep for like 20 years. And then once I'm awakened, now I have this new perspective, this greater perspective, and now I can like see the truth of everything. It's so nice. It's like you see through everyone's bullshit. They cannot put up a front like at all, and you lose friends throughout this process, like for sure. and people still will say like they support you and like all that, but shit changes and people will start to detach themselves from you. And if that's not the case, you detach yourself from them first. So that's what I did in my life. I've done this my whole life with people, and I just have never understood why. But it's like whenever I stop resonating with that person or that group of people, I just can't stick around. Like energetically, it would be too draining to me to not be in my own energy most of the time. So that's why I do spend most of my time by myself, and it's healthy for me and I protect my energy. So basically, if I'm self-aware and I start to be self-aware more and more, and I do it every day or whatever frequency, then I start to learn myself better. And this is something that I think would be, like, if I wrote a book, this would be like one of the first chapters I wrote in it, is about self-awareness, and that no one can force self-awareness on you. You can either go through therapy to kind of get to see this new lens, because the thing is, if you live like one way most of your life and like you don't change like that much, like of course we all change every single day, but like you are stuck in this certain like thought cycle and pattern, and maybe you don't trust joy, which is my experience. Like you replay trauma over and over again, and you need to release your pain or you're going to keep living unhappy and restricting yourself from being happy. So that's what I wrote over here. And then I said therapists can guide you to get there, but if at some level you're still closed off, it will not work. I wrote a couple different options because everybody is different, I have learned. So first we have therapy, and then we have self-reflection, and then we have spirituality and faith, or putting your trust in something bigger than yourself, aka something outside of your ego, your one perspective, the I, the me, that's it, me first perspective. Once you step outside of that, then you can see the truth, and then you can go forward in your life and you won't go back. Some tips that I wrote were to do affirmations to get you through the day. So like if you were used to being in a certain thought cycle or a certain like negative way of being, like you have an expectation that things don't go your way, or you have an expectation that like you aren't loved, or like you don't have good friends or anything like that, any of those things. You need to flip the way you view it, and you need to sit there and be like, okay, well, maybe I don't have great friends, but that is okay because I have myself and I have my best interest at heart all of the time. I know me better than anyone else knows me, and my energy matters. So basically you need to set boundaries for yourself. And whenever you set these boundaries, you're able to grow and change kind of in your own way. And you're like forming and sculpting yourself so much, like you're training over here, so you can't be distracted by like hella people or even a couple people. If they take away from your energy at all and they drain you, if they drain you, that's it. Like you just can't. It's different though if you were like in a relationship, partnership, something like that, where you're like tied down to the person essentially. Like then you should stick with them through that kind of thing. So like having unconditional love, if you have a relationship like that, then you kind of will allow your person to slip, but they can't permanently slip is the thing. So just keep moving forward, pushing, growing, changing, doing your own thing, doing it in your own space. You don't need to be surrounded by any distractions, any people, places, things, social media, anything. Take yourself away from that. Literally, I promise it will save you so much, like so much. It's crazy. And then I drew this like little circle. Let yourself be happy and live. That's like one of the hardest things to do. It's kind of crazy. But once you heal your past pain, your past trauma, and just that journey's different for everybody, but it's a long, hard journey. But once you get past it, then you're good to go. And then on this side of the card, I wrote self-reflection, and then you can see I did like a vanity mirror. And then because I saw the vanity shape in my head, I I decided to draw it. And then I thought, oh, vanity, so I'm gonna write the word vanity. And then what does that mean? Like, then that's why I wrote I, you, me. So like you, by me looking in the mirror, you, like I'm staring back at you vibes. And it's like you need to look in the mirror and see your value. And then I drew value check right here. So you need to look in the mirror and be like, not literally, but it's kind of like the metaphor of self-reflection, unless you do look in a mirror and you do feel that way. But for me personally, I don't. Do I value myself? Do I love myself? Am I confident in myself? Do I have boundaries set and I know what those boundaries are in every single scenario in my life? Like, for example, with like a job or something like that, like, or how people treat you, you need to have kind of like a set standard for yourself about treatment and what you're willing to put up with and not put up with in all the different areas of your life. So if you do that and you have good boundaries, check, then that adds to your value score. So the more self-aware you are, you can start to see your value more. Make sure that your confidence is A+, and it's important to not compare. And I know that's like a basic ass phrase, but sometimes it's actually kind of hard to do that if you are so used to comparing yourself. And that's the other thing about change, is like that's a pattern right there that you should break. Not comparing yourself anymore. Done. Peace. We're moving on over here. So like just allowing these little changes to happen, or like if you're really closed off to love or like something like that, like maybe you should sit there and be like, okay, so my entire life, let's play back this pattern. Like, how have I been with friends? Oh, I abandoned my friends and I give up on them. Okay, nice. And then you like reflect on your relationship with your parents or your family or the people you kind of grew up around or whatever. Whoever is most important to you at home, those relationships, how those work. And like I said with my dad, like, did I feel a certain love towards him? No, because he didn't fulfill my certain needs from like a daughter standpoint, like nurturing, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like admitting these certain things to yourself and accepting that that's like part of your life. Like, okay, dang, like I didn't get the exact like father that I wanted, and the you know, true colors that are showing right now in this whole situation that's going on with him and my mom with this divorce, and just how he's treating myself and my brother. Just like the true colors are coming out, and it's really unfortunate, but that itself, that knowledge right there, it's a bad, shitty situation, but I can take it and I can look at it and be like, okay, well, now this makes sense. I don't feel nurtured and I don't feel all these different things because these characteristics keep playing out over and over and over and over again, and he's not changing. And like, I wish he would like get to know me on a deep personal level. Like, who is my daughter? Like, I know he knows where I go to school and what I like to do, which is, anyone knows what I like to do. Like, I could say I like to do art, and that's as much as he knows. And it's just very like detached. So like, that's an example of freaking daddy issues out here. And just admitting that to yourself is so very important. I'm gonna make a video soon, and you guys are probably gonna be shook out here, but I'm very excited to talk about it, and it's a new part of my life. It has to do with my last name, and that I changed my last name legally. And part of that, the reason why I'm sharing that, is because that was one of the thoughts that came to mind whenever I was thinking about self-reflection and like my life and my past and everything like that. I wanted to detach my name, which was actually his name, his true colors. I'm not proud of those, and I don't stand by them at all. I'm embarrassed by them, and I am not, it doesn't bring me joy or any kind of positive feeling whatsoever like associated with him. So the last name for me, I wanted to let it go and kind of get my own last name that represented me, and I wanted a name that had deep meaning to it, and it had a meaning that was relevant to me in my life and my spiritual growth and my journey. So that is why I was listening to my intuition one of these nights and randomly thought, oh, let's change the last name, girl, like, let's change it, why not? And then I thought about it again a couple more times, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should actually do it. Like, I kept talking about it with my best friend, and then now I'm like, okay, let's just do this thing. Like, why not? Let's start researching. So I figured out like how much it costs for like the judge to like sign the papers, and for, you know, to file in court and get a case started, and like e-filing and like all this shit. But to me, it's absolutely worth it, and I'm so thankful about it. And I guess I'll just share it now. I was gonna make a more formal video, but honestly, like, whatever at this point. So my last name is actually Haven. Haven is a safe space, a safe place, a place of refuge, sanctuary, peace, safety, all these things. And that feeling is a feeling that I lacked in my heart. And just to speak up about my mom really quick, she did nothing wrong. She was the best mother that she could have possibly been to me as, you know, raising me as a kid. She's still my mother, and we have a better relationship now than we used to. But my point is that I was never mistreated by her or anything like that to make me feel like not loved. But it's just, I had a certain type of way that I wanted to be loved in my heart that I didn't get loved. And most of it was the type of love that a father should give his daughter. And it's weird to sit here and be 21 years old and be like, oh my god, like my dad didn't love me, like oh my god, my life is so ruined now. And but honestly, it kind of is that serious. Like, you can kind of like brush it off for a long time and just whatever, but eventually at one point you're gonna be like, damn, well, if it's just as small as admitting to yourself, it's actually pretty big to admit to yourself, I wish I had a different type of father. I wish he had different qualities that made him a better man, a stronger man, more confident man, healed, understanding, compassionate, strong, dedicated, like all these kind of things, nurturing. I didn't get that. So now I still feel like I lack that in me. And that's part of healing. Like, you need to learn to heal that part of you, because there's an absence of a certain type of figure that you wanted. And if that figure never showed up, then you just kind of have to overcompensate, and you have to figure out like how to get what you need, essentially. And for me, that was divine love. And divine love is the relationship that I have with myself, my inner self. And my inner self is connected to the universe and to God and higher power. So because I found that love, I'm now healed. And all these amazing little signs and things like that are just a confirmation that like everything's going as planned, and it's completely great. I just like love my life so much now. And I used to be like extremely depressed, and I might make a video sometime talking about like my story with depression and anxiety and like the deeper why all that shit is going on, or did go on. But yeah, for now, I'll just say that it made me wise and it healed me. It really hurt me and broke me in the moment, but somehow I rose out of it, and that's just the tea. This like rubber band thing, I just wanted to show you guys. It looks like a heart, and it looks like a person with his two arms and then his legs, and then I like taped down his legs, essentially, is what I'm trying to show you. And it didn't start off like this. I had this random idea to put a hole in the card, like a tag, and then I had rubber bands in our little like junk drawer downstairs. So I took the rubber band and then I like fed it through like the hole, and then I like did a little tie situation, and then it was just kind of like dangling like a Christmas tag or something. And then I was like, ooh, let's get another color rubber band and let's like interlace them. Then the blue one started to get all twirly and twisty, and I was trying to fix it like over and over, and I couldn't fix it. So I was like, okay, whatever, we'll just let it go. And then I realized whenever I put it down on the table, it kind of formed the shape of a heart. So then I wanted to form that shape on the card and tape it that way, and it literally is like a man standing in the middle of a heart. And little do you know, there's a heart that I drew right there, and the heart is touching the heart, and it's about trusting your heart. and trusting your gut and trusting your intuition. And on this back side over here in this corner, it's a trophy with a heart in it, and it says us in quotes. So like on this mirror we have the I, you, me, and then on the heart, like I said, it says we, and then over here it says us. This is like a visual of transformation. You self-reflect so much and you really study that person like inside and out, and then you end up realizing like it's more than just you here. It's like the universe and your deeper self and your intuition and that like voice and that just knowing. Once you can tap into that, then it becomes we, like the universe, God, whatever, all the puzzle pieces are coming together. You're starting to understand and see world. You're starting to come together and understand the world in an entirely new way. Then the trophy us is like, that's the most powerful state that you can be in, is whenever you trust yourself and you're in tune with your inner knowing, plus paying attention to the universe and all of that. So it's like a combination. The other part with my last name, Haven, I want to be that safe space and sanctuary for other people because I never had that myself. And since that need was never fulfilled, I still have this like desire in me to make that different for other people. Like I don't want other people to necessarily have to go through that in the same way that I did, because it sucks. Like feeling like you are alone and that not many people get you like at all, and you're just kind of in your own lane doing your own thing, like being a little bit of a pioneer and having to pave your own path because the ones that everyone else is living is not the one that you want to live, and no one else is modeling it though for you in your personal life. So you kind of have to like be a pioneer and make that way for you. Alright guys, I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.
Can I give you more? Can I give you more, child? Can I give you more? I will give you everything, my child. Just waiting for the timing. Oh, now